I'm blessed to be the son of this great continent. I thank God for seeing it good and proper for me to be born an African and to be born at a time at which I was born in spite of the challenges and the realities of my time. I thank Him for giving me the parents He gave me and the upbringing, difficult as it was. It shaped me to be the person I'm busy becoming. And I appreciate that. I thank God for Jesus Christ who died on the cross. It is because of Him that while I was struggling to try to find the answers to life, at the age of 15, I heard about the message of Jesus Christ, that my life could be changed. And the day I gave my heart to Jesus, I found more than what I bargained for. I found salvation and forgiveness of my sins. The peace that I've never experienced before. But more than that, I found a connection that gave me a purpose of existence. And I've never looked back ever since then. So I'm happy. I'm happy and life is great. I know that life on the other side, it's very short. And I want to make the best of it. Get it? Wow. So today we will continue from where we left off. I am a preacher. And one of the problems of being a preacher is that you never have enough time. It doesn't matter. I've been to situations where we had a two weeks campaign and I was preaching every day. But even then, at the end of it all, I still felt like, hey, I still had so much to say. So I'm trying to pick up the best for you because I know that we don't have forever here. I spoke to you on Monday and I spoke to you yesterday. I continue to speak to you. If you hear me repeating things, saying things over and over again, it's not because I forgot that I said them. It's because they are important and I want to make sure that you don't miss them. Okay? I used to tell my class that if you hear me repeating something over and over again, it's because it's important and it will appear on your exam script. We don't repeat for the sake of repetition. Your destiny is not as foreign as you think. Who you are busy becoming or who you were born to be, it's not as foreign as you are meant to believe. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. Remember, the three very important questions that we are trying to answer. Who am I? Who am I? Your identity. Where do I come from? These are connected because your identity is informed by where you come from. What am I doing here? Well, this is also so connected to the first two questions. Because how we are going to respond to life is going to be influenced by who you think you are, which has been informed by where you think you come from. Get it? Good. So today we want to be smart, like that Kenyan young journalist, knowing the three very important days of our lives. The day I was born, the day I discovered why, and the day I started living out that which I was born for. Very important days. In fact, the people who do not live to finish the triangle, they die empty. When they can't figure it out, most of them commit suicide. And when they commit suicide, most of them leave a suicide note which says, what is there to live for? What's the point? They missed their plane. They did not discover their purpose. And therefore life lost meaning. Identity. It's very important. And I will touch on it, even though I still want us to spend some time on your toolbox as we talk about who you are destined to be. It's not as foreign as you think. But I want to start, and maybe I will keep on doing that. In fact, if you want to nickname me, and if it will help you to remember what is important, call me identity. Because that's the bottom line, friends. You see, the problem with Africa, it's an identity crisis. We spend most of the money that we don't have trying to buy a foreign identity. We buy things to try to look like somebody somewhere. We spend the money that we don't have to shape ourselves and to make ourselves look like somebody that we think we should be. We spend most of the time trying to shape ourselves according to the identity we aspire for. Because we have allowed other people to define who we are and have refused to allow our Creator to define our identity. For Moses, of course, it will be Pharaoh's daughter who will give him a name. And if he's not careful, he'll find himself trying to live up to the expectations of Pharaoh's daughter. And that's what Africa is struggling with. Africa is struggling with the identity of the colonizers, with the people that we thought were higher and superior and more clever. And we are struggling to dig ourselves out of who we are. And we try, oh my God, every time I say this, I get into trouble with my wife and my daughters. I say, you spend time to buy the hair that was never meant to be yours, with the money that you don't have, because you are not happy with who you are. And while people are busy producing that hair for you to buy with the money that you don't have, you are busy spending time to try to look like them. So you become a consumer for the rest of your life because you are wasting your time trying to shape up. Yeah, I will not be surprised if I live long enough. I will not be surprised to find our daughters and our granddaughters trying to shape their eyes to look like Chinese in the few years to come. But not from this group. Not from this group. Get it? Not from us. In fact, when I go to my church, see, I do church in a university setting. When I feel like my young people are forgetting who they are, we start the service by going like this. Going like this, and then they'll all stand up like this. And stretch like this. And I said, welcome to the eagle's nest. We don't breed chickens here. We don't breed for scratching. We release for the sky. Get it? Identity is very important. That's why before you can operate and know your destiny, you need to know who you are. There's a beautiful advert in our TV station. I like it. It has been there for a while, and every time I see it, I enjoy it. It's this gentleman. He's dressed up for the office. And he's arriving at O.R. Tambo, our international airport in Johannesburg. He is late for his flight, but he's dressed up for the office with a very expensive briefcase, and everything looks very expensive. And he gets there and he says to this lady, I need to be in that flight. And the young lady looks at him and says, sir, you are late. It is closed. And she says, lady, I need to be in that flight. Can't you hear me? And she says, sir, I'm sorry, it's closed. You are late. And then this gentleman comes and he picks up everything out of himself and he says, do you know who I am? And that's where the beauty of the advert comes. So the young lady takes a cup of Joko. She drinks Joko. That advert is supposed to promote Joko tea. So she takes a sip of Joko tea, and then from there she goes to the mic and she says, attention please. Attention please. We have a problem here. There is a gentleman in front of me who does not know who he is. If anyone can help, please come to counter A. Identity. Identity. But Moses said unto God, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? Did you hear that? Who am I? God says, yes, Moses, I have heard the cry. I have seen the misery. I have come down. And of all the young men and young ladies of the universe, my finger says, you are the man. You're supposed to be excited and say, wow, let's go for it. But identity that has been defined by other people, that has said to him, you are the one who has been from the water picked up. You are not good enough. So he is responding to life. He's responding to who he is supposed to become from how he has been defined. Being a teacher is exciting. In fact, there are 2 days that I like in being a teacher. The first day is the first day of class. I usually want to be the first one in class. The first day in the semester or in the year, especially in the year when all the students are new. You can tell a lot about students when they walk in by where they are going to sit. You can tell about their self-esteem by where and how they are going to position themselves. That's one part that I like. The other part I like, Dr. Reed, is it's when they have written an exam and I give them the script to check their grades. I like observing that because that reflects on what and who they think they are and what they think they are capable of. You don't need to be a prophet, you just need to be observant. You look at them. If she thinks she's an A student, and we usually give her a script turned upside down because it's supposed to be personal and confidential, but I know already. I give it to her and I observe. You know what's going to happen? I can tell what she thinks she's capable of. She will look at it. No student, that is guaranteed, no student will take an exam script and put it aside without checking the grade. And then you will see either a frown or a smile. When she goes like this and she sees a grade which she thinks defines who she is, she will smile. Am I right? Good. But then I guarantee you the next move, and I like the next move. The next move is where we confuse our identity with the next person's identity. Now, all of you do that. I'm not prophesying. It's a fact. As soon as she sees her grade and she smiles, you know what's the next thing that she's going to do? Do you know? What does she do? She asks her friend, what did you get? Okay? And now, if in her mind, she thinks she's better than her friend, and then she asks her friend, and her friend says, I got an A+. And she only got an A, all of a sudden an A is no longer good enough to smile for. She will frown because she's no longer happy with who she is. She's allowing her friend's identity to influence her happiness and her joy and her achievements. Who am I, Lord? Who am I? You can go to Pharaoh and you will see the comparison story beginning. Later on, you'll hear Moses saying, no, there's somebody who is better than I. There's somebody who can do the job better than I can. And God said, I will be with you. Isn't it interesting? That Moses asked the question, who am I? God doesn't answer that question. He doesn't tell him that you are so and so. He just says to him, I will be with you. I will be with you. I, the one who defined and created your identity, will be right there with you. I, the one who knows what you are capable of and what you can handle, I will be there with you. Don't worry. The mastermind who created you, who knows your potential and who was there before you were and who will be there when you are gone, says, I will be with you. And this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God in this mountain. I find this African story very interesting. This guy is trying to look for a reason to chicken out. God is saying, I will be with you and you are going to pull it through, and when you are done, we will meet here second round on the very same spot. So God is saying, it doesn't matter who you think you are. But the God who shaped and made you for who you are will be with you and will empower you to achieve that which you have been created to achieve. Get it? So it's not you. That's why when you try to find your identity away from your source, you will always undersell yourself. And then you will end up singing, I'm just a nobody. And nobody will buy that CD. Because nobody buys nobodies. I said to you, your destiny, it's not as foreign as you have been made to think. And this is what I want to unpack with you. What is happening in your life right now, it's preparing you for what is coming. And what happened to you yesterday was an investment to your today's spending for your tomorrow. You know, there's these two boys, African boys. Both of them are African. They were born and bred in Egypt. Bramos and Brajay. You know Bramos, Moses, and then Brajosh, Joshua. You know those two guys? Yeah, the other one took over from the other. Both of them, they knew the secret of what I'm just about to unpack to you. See, God is not a God of surprises. He prepares you. The only problem is that we don't open our eyes and our ears to check what is in the toolbox. Now, look at this, guys. When Moses was leading Israel to the promised land, and they were getting closer, he selected 12 men and sent them to Canaan to do what? To spy the land. Spy the land. Spying the land is in fact visiting the land and checking it out, mastering it, so that by the time you get there, you know how to approach it. So you don't come there and try to look for a gate and try to check what is happening. No, you are a step ahead of getting there. That was the purpose of spying. But identity, I think what Bramos, the mistake he made was when he was doing his selection, he did not do a good identity check out. He chose 10 chickens and 2 eagles. And no chickens make more noise than eagles. They are good at making noise. And they came back and they made the chicken noise and made everyone in Israel to chicken out. That's the problem of associating with chickens. They always tell you how impossible it is. They tell you that it has never been done like that before. But if you have one eagle in the chicken cage, how to motivate an eagle is to tell an eagle that it has never been done like that before. That's how you motivate some of us. When I went to NTC, it was just about to close down. And I was made the principal of NTC, and we were owing the bank, I don't know how much. And then everybody, I mean, you were there, Cindy, you know what I'm talking about. Everything was going. In fact, Dr. Ken Walker tells me, he confesses later, when he saw that I have survived because I'm not a chicken, he confesses to me, and he makes sure that he confesses when we are on the other side of the Atlantic, so that I don't confiscate his passport. He says, Mashangu, to be honest with you, when we made you principal there, we were looking for someone who can let this thing crash gently. And I said, you wanted to sacrifice an African and save your face. But he made a mistake, which was a godly mistake, by putting a chicken on the steering wheel. I mean, an eagle. I don't believe in KFC. I don't believe in ending up in a Nando somewhere. I'm not a chicken. I was never produced for somebody's meal. I was produced for somebody's transformation. So God gave me this vision on how to turn this whole thing around. And my first meeting with the board of trustees, I tell them this is what we are going to do. And then they all go like this. But I can see in their face they are saying, good idea, but very great ambition. Sorry, young man, we are not sure if this will happen. And I tested them, and they didn't know that I was giving them a test. After, one of the things that I presented to them was that we were going to raise a scholarship to turn things around, a scholarship of about 1.5 million from African resources. And I said, we don't want any foreign currency on this one. It's going to come from South Africa. We don't want any dollars. We don't want any Kenyan shillings. We don't want any Zimbabwean, whatever you want to call it. It's going to have to be South African. In fact, I said to them, what God has said to me is that he believes in the resources of Africa. And every time he wants to move Africa to the next level, he is going to use African resources with African personnel. And they said, this apartheid activism has gotten into your head. And when I spoke about that, I said 1.5 million. They said it has never been done like that before. And I said, that's exactly the reason why we are going to do it. Well, I'm here standing in front of you. I'm no longer a principal of NTC, but before I left that scholarship was standing at 2.5 million. You see, it's not because it was done before. It's because who gave the vision, and how much do you believe in the one who gave the vision? My connection with the principal and the head of NTC, which is Jesus Christ himself, made me to see that which the human eye cannot see. Sometimes we are short-sighted because we rely too much on our own side. Who am I? Well, Moses, you are a redeemer. You are a champion. You are a leader. But let me tell you, Joshua did the same thing. After Moses, before they get to the promised land, Joshua was smart. He was smart. You see, smart people learn from the mistakes of their predecessors. Stupid people, they repeat it because they are creatures of habit. So Joshua says, Bramos selected 12 and 10 were chicken. And if it was according to majority rule, the whole mission should have failed. Because 10 voted against. Okay? So Joshua says, you know what? And 2 were eagles. So instead of sending 12 men, which is 10 chicken plus 2 eagles, Let's save the chickens for Nando's and KFC and only send 2 eagles. I want to emphasize the fact that God has already spied the land for you. You are not being sent to a foreign land. God believes in spying the land for you. In fact, everything that has happened to you up until now, you have been taken without your permission and without your knowledge. You have been exposed to your Canaan and brought back to start the journey. You say, what is this man trying to say? Well, let's look at Moses' life. Look at how he has been exposed. Number 1, he leaves Egypt. Okay, he goes to Midian. And you remember how the well worked for him. He ended up with a wife, with a family, But another thing that I did not mention to you is that the well gave him a brilliant father-in-law. This father-in-law was not only smart, he was a priest. Now, Moses comes from Egyptian royalty, even though he was born from the Levite house. The priesthood, God relationship leading people, it's not new, it's not, food, daily bread for him. He spent most of his time in the politics of Egypt. So he needs to be taken into this journey of leading Israel as a spiritual leader. And how best can you do that? But rather than by taking him into a space of being mentored without him realizing that he's being mentored by a priest. You see, God is busy preparing you without your school fees. And you don't even have to pay tuition. He's exposing you to the resources that you need as you become that which he is busy creating you to be. And for 40 years he will spend time in this space to be prepared to spend 40 years doing that which his mentor was doing at Midian. And his mentor will visit and can come and check and assess. And he will tell him, hey, Moses, you continue like this. This is not the way I was doing it. You continue like this, you will die young. Change the strategy. So if you want to know about the best leadership strategy, go and check there. She says, no, you must prioritize. Take that which only needs you and select capable men and delegate the responsibilities. Now, he didn't have to take a course for that. But God spied the leadership land for him. He's going to spend about 40 years in the wilderness. And this boy did not grow up in the wilderness. He grew up in the suburbs of Goshen, the blessed fertile place in Egypt. And then instead of sharing the pain with the oppressed, he spent most of the time in the house of the oppressor. Now he had to be prepared for that. You will call it demotion. Okay, let me say this to you. There are things that are going to happen to you which you will not appreciate, which you will think is demoting and belittling. And if you miss that opportunity, you will pay in the future. You are busy becoming the greatest lawyer who will ever be. But sometimes at ANU, they will ask you to clean the toilets. And no, I don't mean the lawyer. I don't mean the lawyer. You are busy becoming the president of your country. Citizen number 1. And at ANU, they will ask you to sweep the floors. Now you see, if God was to take you and show you who you are going to become, and then Dr. Reed comes and gives you the broom, you will spit in his face. Do you know who I am? But this great leader had to be looking after sheep in the wilderness. I mean, really, from royal house, into becoming the greatest leader, the one who will open the Red Sea, and then find yourself behind the smell and the toilet and the urine of the sheep? Really? But friends, this man needed this to spy the land, because he's going to spend 40 years leading Israel in that space. Are you hearing me? The things that are busy happening to you, socially, politically, personally, do not downplay them. They are the manure for the grooming and the growing of the leader you are being shaped to be. I say to my children, when we are given an opportunity, even if it's to scrape the floor, set the standard. Make sure that by the time you finish cleaning that toilet, when they call the second person, they must say it. You must clean it like. So it's not what you do which shapes you, it's how you do it. When you get employed somewhere, your promotion will be determined by how do you respond to the current roles and responsibilities. If you cheat and you give half, it will reward you the same way. Because you are busy becoming who you were created to be. God has already exposed you. Some of you have failed. And you know what God does? Usually when you are given a lesson to clean the toilet and you fail, you know what will happen? You will be given a second chance. You might graduate from ANU to find that in that very big company where you will be employed, they will start you from. And you say, I'm a graduate from African Nazarene University, and you say, this is what I must do. God spies the land for us. So we are busy becoming who God has created us to be. But who we are is going, or who we think we are, is going to inform how we respond to that. You know, the whole journey, the next 40 years will be spent in the desert. Well, how's the better way of preparing somebody for the desert than taking them unofficially and place them in the desert as a shepherd for 40 years? So when God says, no, we are not going to use this route, we are going to via the desert, Moses is not struggling with high blood pressure. He says, I've been there, done it, and know my way through. Now, it's not good news if your desert has been too rough. But friends, the reason why you were taken to that desert is because you are being prepared for that desert. You know why I'm very good? I was very good at raising the 2.5 million for Nazarene Theological College. It's because I was taken to a desert before then of going to school penniless with no money to pay for tuition. I know what it means to be supported by other people. I can connect with the pain of being at school and waiting for 2 days not knowing whether you will be allowed to write an exam or not. I can connect with that because I've been there. So when God gave me an opportunity to say 2.5 million, it's not scratching the head. It's just going back and saying, been there, done it, help me, Lord. What is it that you have in your hands? Check in your toolbox. What are the experiences that we have gone through? Where has God exposed you to? What are the deserts that you have been exposed to? Now listen to God. God has a sense of humor, I tell you. He says to him, when Moses says, who am I? God says to him, I will be with you. You will go. You will deliver the people. And then we will meet on this mountain. Do you see what God has done here? God has taken Moses to the destiny before the journey has started. When Moses came with Israel to Mount Horeb and sees the fire and the beauty and the presence of God, he is not suffering a cultural shock. He has been there. God said, I will expose. Even though he did not know why he had to be at Mount Horeb and see what he saw, but God knew. You don't need to know. God knows what he's doing. When your father, who is supposed to be paying your fees, die when you are doing your second year, it's painful. But he hasn't forgotten about you. He's up to something. It's not pleasant. It's not something to celebrate about. But he's busy shaping you for something great. There are other people that you are going to have to lift up from that very same donga. And that's why he's allowing and preparing you to build the muscles of leadership so that you will be the kind of a leader he wants you to be. So you are not called into foreign space. No. He says we will meet on your way back. We will meet on this very same spot. On this mountain. And the fire that you see from the tree, it's just status. When we meet second half, you will see big smoke. You will see the cloud. You will see something more serious. But it will not shock you because we have seen and experienced it before. You are not hearing me, are you? Let me tell you what I'm trying to say. God is saying to Moses, go to Egypt. To do what? To tell Pharaoh, let my people go. To deliver my people. Is it foreign? No. What made Moses to run away from Egypt? It was the passion and the desire to want to free the Hebrews from the oppression. So there is a passion built in you. There is something that you are already excited about. Something that you don't need someone to ask you to do. You just need to check your toolbox and check what is in. What is it that makes you tick? What is it that makes you spend sleepless nights? Political activists who end up becoming the Nelson Mandelas, you start seeing that even at the high school, when there is something that the students are not happy with, you will see them leading the students to protest. There is something in them that says, when things are not okay, I don't look for a way out to save my skin, but I always find a solution for the betterment of the rest of us. What your destiny is asking from you, it's not asking you to do something new. It's asking you to do two things. Asking you to do something that you are already passionate about, but this time do it with God. Take that which you are passionate about. Take that rod, that which you have always been operating from, and throw it down on holy ground, dedicated to God. Let's go and liberate Israel from Egypt, but not your way, not by murdering people and then digging their sand and hiding their bodies, not in your own agenda, not in your own way, but allow me to be with you. We conclude and fulfill your passion the designer's way. And that's your calling. That's why I want to tell you, when graduation day comes and you stand on that stage and you graduate, you get your certificate and your hood, we will have failed if we'll only graduate you as a lawyer. We will have failed. We will have failed. Because you are bigger than a lawyer. You are bigger than an accountant. You are bigger than whatever it is that you think and you aspire for. You are in fact an agent of change. You are God's transforming power that is supposed to shake and move Africa, but you are camouflaging as a bank manager because of your BCom whatever qualification. But inside you, you see bigger than the bank. You see greater than the money. You are an agent of change undercover. I say to my young people in my church, let no one define your identity by anything that does not have value after they say ashes to ashes and dust to dust. Anything that does not have value. I know people are very cruel, Dr. Reed. They are very cruel. You know, when you're still alive, they collect your achievements and they call it a CV. And they use it to open doors. If there's a job opportunity, they want to see how have you achieved and how have you arrived. Wait until you die. They change it. They don't erase it. They just change it. It's no longer a CV. It's an obituary. They are saying all that which used to open doors for you. In fact, in South Africa, I don't know about you. In South Africa, they will read an obituary and how you have achieved and where you have been and what we have done and everything. And when they are all done, before they send your body downstairs, they will say, they will send ushers to collect the copies of that which used to be filed will now be thrown in the grave with you. So if you are going to let that PhD, that BCom, that academic qualification to define who you are, your definition is very short-lived. And your identity is peanuts. I want to live for something greater. I want to live for something more powerful. I want to live for something that will defy the grave. Something, you know, they say, character refuses to be buried. When they bury the person, it goes back with the mourners. I want to live for that. So God is not sending you to a foreign space. I'm trying to help you discover your purpose in life. You are very close to your purpose. It's not foreign. It's something that you are already exposed to. The only thing, two things. Number one, God is saying, I want you to do that which I've put in your heart, but this time do it with me. And secondly, do it my way. Your way. You know how in this world, how do you get to the top? How do we climb to the top in this world? By climbing on top of others. We cheat, we lie, we steal, we corrupt the system to get on top. That's our way. We kill the Egyptian, we bury them. We eliminate opposition and get rid of them so that we can be the only one standing. And God says, no. That's for chickens. Yeah, chickens do that. If you limit the space of the cage, chickens start eating each other. When there is not enough food, you go and check, you'll find that the back of the other chickens is busy being eaten away by the other chickens. That's chicken stuff. God's saying, let's do it my way. My way is we don't eliminate opposition, we transform opposition. So your destiny is not as foreign as you think. The only problem is you need your eyes opened and your ears opened to hear and to see. There's nothing that is going to come your way which has never been there before. Now in closing, God has a sense of humor. You know why Moses and Joshua had to send the spies before they get to the promised land? It's because even though God will take you to spy your land, he will not show you the complete picture. He will take you a step at a time and will only expose you to that which will encourage you to take the next step. He will not show you the whole picture lest you die. Can you imagine God taking Moses to the promised land while he's still at Jethro's place and shows him the walls of Jericho and those giants? and then coming and saying, Moses, I want you to go and say, you know what Moses will have happened, will have said? It was this time, it was not going just to be stammering. That guy will have died of a heart attack. He will say, no, God, no. It's too big. So God will only let you bite that which you can chew for now. He will never choke you because he cares about you. What is important is what he gives you to bite, swallow with dignity so that you can develop the muscle for the bigger chunk. Lord, we thank you that you love us, that you care about us, and that you know our destiny, you know where we come from, and none of us is an accident. Every one of us was born for a greater purpose. And Father, like I said yesterday, most of us spend our time trying to find and discover our purpose until we die without finding, because we don't go back to the source and the designer of this purpose for him to open our eyes. All of us have been allowed to spy our destiny. Some of us are not happy with that. Some of us are not comfortable with that. And some of us are still struggling with the, who am I, Lord? And Jesus, I pray that, Holy Spirit, you do the altar call. I pray that you do it personal. You work with each and every heart and each and every mind during the course of the day. You arrest each and every one of us to the attention of speaking to us about what am I doing here? When I'm gone, how will I be remembered? What legacy will I be leaving behind? Lord, help us to discover our destiny and our purpose. For you don't waste resources. You invest in us because you care about us. And I remember the way you invested in David. You exposed him to the lions and the bears of his time, so that when he meets Goliath, he will say, I've been there, done it, and I know God will see me through even on this one. So I pray that your grace be sufficient and that you cover us with your goodness and your faithfulness. In the name of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. Amen.